Hi, welcome to Albuquerque's Most Iconic Businesses, presented by Moji Cinema. My name is Stacy Sacco. I'll be your guest host today. I'm the previous director of the UNM Small Business Institute, as well as the last 20 years I've taught entrepreneurial courses at UNM Anderson School of Management. Delighted to have Michael and Nathan Manning from BeeHive Homes today to talk about their business, their strategy, and some ideas about how to start your own business. So we're going to break away and watch their origin films, and then we'll come back. Thank you very much.
My name is Jay Manning, and I grew up on the reservation in Shiprock, New Mexico. I remember when I did my first business. It was a convenience store, and I put the whole deal together. There's a man that lived in Kirtland, and his name is Golden Gallagher, and he had this piece of property right after you come off from the Arizona power plant. He had this piece of property. He had a little hamburger stand on it, and he made a decent living, but he wasn't reaching the potential of what it could be. And so I went up to him, and I had talked to my dad before. I said, look, Dad, I need you to sign for me at the bank. I just want you to sign for me, and this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna build a convenience store, and I'm gonna go to Golden Gallagher, and I'm gonna ask him to be my partner, and I need you to sign with me at the bank. And he said, okay, I'm gonna sign for you the loan, you pay it back, and I own half of it. I own half of your house. Well, if you figure that up, it's about 100% interest. But I didn't care. I was 23 years old, didn't have a pot to pee in or a window to throw it out. And I go, something's better than nothing. And I really believed in this place. When the day came that we were gonna open it, and he came down to the store, and I'm stocking shelves and I'm getting it all ready, he was really proud. The next big thing in my life is to go on a mission. And so that whole process of trying to reach and teach people and help them in their lives is a great builder of character. Because when you're out there in the mission field, there's you and your companion, and you can never leave your companion. And in that process, if I'm a human being and you're a human being and I serve you, I'm going to learn to love you, and you're going to learn to love me. And that's what happens in the BeeHive Homes. And if you understand that process and you have experience with it, then it makes this business so much easier to understand what brings value to people.
You're there just to serve people. So I think the reason why that experience just rolls right into what I'm doing now is because we're still just taking care of people. And on your mission, that's all you really do. You help people, young men and women who are away from their home, dealing with that and taking care of them and making sure they're happy and healthy and comfortable. And that's all you do 24 hours a day. That's all you care about, is taking care of the people of whatever country you're in.
We'd go out for 12 hours a day. We would try to reach out to people. We'd knock on their doors, or we'd go visit them on the streets, and a lot of people wanted to feed us, wanted to be our friends. It was just about doing everything I could to show them Christ-like service.
Once I physically was able to adjust and mentally, it was really easy to not think about myself and just think about, okay, what am I going to do today that's going to bless the life of somebody else? And that is the main thing that I've gotten out of my mission, is how to really serve other people and bless other people and find joy in doing that.
All of that definitely serves me in what I do now.
It really matters to me that in these homes, the qualities happening, because these are good people and they deserve to be taken care of in a manner that we all really want and that is to be loved.
We believe people, whether it's our residents or our members of our staff, deserve to be treated like human beings. They deserve love, they deserve respect, and they deserve to be treated with integrity.
When you treat somebody that is a resident here like an actual person, and not just, I'm here to do my job and let me leave your room after I'm done, but actually talk with them, joke with them, listen to them and their struggles, and what I could do to make the residents' day just better.
Caregiving is about getting to know the individual on an intimate level, knowing about their history, who their children are, what they like to do, and being that person's friend, being a listening ear for that person, and showing them that you genuinely care for them, that you have concern for them in their life. That's what caregiving is.
I always pay really close attention to what does the entrance look like? Is the door clean? Are the baseboards dusted? When I walk in, I want to smell food. I want it to be fresh and smell like a house. I want to see residents that, if Mrs. Johnson wants to have her hair in curlers the night before and have her makeup on the morning of, that they get that. And I think it's just a very stark difference than what is currently available, that level of attention and care. And it's because we're here.
It's about ministering and about taking care of people, and you gotta have the heart for it. And there's no greater joy than to be able to share it and to share in the work with your family, because of the great blessing that we all feel in taking care of these great people who are residents. They expect more than 3 meals a day and a safe roof over their head. They expect us that we'll love them. And that's the magic that is BeeHive.
So, welcome back. I'm sure you enjoyed the film. We just saw and got a little bit of a history of BeeHive Homes. And we have Nathan and Michael Manning, leadership co-partners in running the business with their dad. And so we thought we'd ask them some questions. So welcome.
Thank you. Thank you.
And one of the questions I had is that, especially when we work with small businesses, is we initially do a business plan. Were you guys involved in that process, the planning of starting it, or you came in later?
We came in later. Our dad was kind of the visionary who brought the BeeHive franchise to New Mexico. And he started off by himself with just one home. And it wasn't until years later, until we had maybe 4 or 5 homes, that we eventually came on. So we didn't have anything to do with that initial planning phase or anything, but recognized that we had place and that there was a need for more leadership, and that's where we came in.
So on an ongoing basis, though, do you have a plan for each year and then you update it? Is that how that works? And by the way, when at the university we were teaching for quite a while, like a 50-page business plan, that got folded into about 20 pages, and now a lot of classes are teaching the business model canvas, which is 1 page. So that it all has turned into a lot of different models around that. So I'd just be curious, what do you do in terms of planning, or how do you manage the business in terms of that?
Well, we participate in an organization called Action Coach. We have professional business mentors that sit us down on a daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly basis and put us through a very specific planning and strategy meeting. That our plan is constantly being updated as we see opportunities and sort out systems and people as we grow.
So that's an interesting question. I worked with, was an examiner for quality in New Mexico, and it was all about having a system in place. When I looked at your website and other aspects of your business and heard about BeeHive Homes, my goodness, everybody talks about the quality, the level of service that you guys provide is at a whole nother level. So how do you maintain that? Where does that come from? Is it the staffing, or is it processes or systems? How do you maintain that high level of quality?
I think it's both. I mean, BeeHive has a very good culture surrounding service. And not just that, but making sure that every resident feels special and that they feel like they're at home, that they feel like they're one of a kind, that they're not just a number, right? So in order to accomplish that, it requires really good people who buy into that vision and buy into that culture. But it also requires systems. You have to have systems of management in place. Otherwise, something can fall apart in one area. And part of our challenge is we've got locations all over the state, right? And so without systems, you can't maintain that continuity and that consistency that needs to happen everywhere, not just in one location.
So where was your first location?
Farmington, New Mexico.
No kidding. Okay. Or Kirtland, wasn't it?
No, it was Farmington.
It was Farmington.
Yeah.
Okay. I thought I remember reading that somewhere. Okay. And then you have now how many facilities?
We have 34 across New Mexico.
So
and West
that's
Texas.
an interesting story, because I've had different students over the years too who started something and wanted to grow it. So there's lots of ways to grow it. You can mergers and acquisition, buy your competitors, you can franchise it. You guys chose a particular path to grow it, which is you kept it. It sounds like you really just bought another facility and then grew it from there. Is that right?
BeeHive is a franchise model,
Right.
And so each location is a separate franchise, and not all the BeeHives in the state are owned by us. There are other franchisees in the state. So franchising is a great way, especially if you want to maintain that consistency, because you have bought-in ownership. Every location has an owner.
And what do you provide your franchisee? Because they pay a fee to be
Sure.
a member, and then they get services from you. I would assume part of that's the brand and the marketing, but
Brand, marketing, website, policies and procedures, but the biggest I think benefit for a franchisee is the network of owners that have already been through all the challenges that can really come up.
like as an advisory group.
Yeah, and it's a really open group, and people are always willing to help out and share what they've learned and what they know, and so when you buy a BeeHive franchise, you're not just buying a system, you're buying all the knowledge of all the people who have been through it.
So how do you decide where is the best place to locate a facility? Because I know Mr. Cog and some other resources in town will tell you where there's traffic flows, but that's not what's driving your business. It's probably more a particular community area, right? So
Sure. Yeah, we try to look at study the demographics of a town, a city before we go in. We put limits on a number of people in a community. How many people a particular BeeHive can service. So it's about every 30,000 people can support another BeeHive home. And there's just a lot that goes into it. It kind of depends on if you're talking about a new location in Albuquerque or going into one of the smaller communities that we are in. But we do look at traffic patterns, and because convenience is really important.
Right.
Where's a nice place to stop between work and home for the families? So we try to look at the target demographic. Where do they live in the city? And find a location that is convenient on their route.
So one of the things that's really changed the last few years in most businesses is they've adapted to any of the new technologies, whether like even our classes at the university are taught mostly online now.
Sure.
So that can be impersonal. So I'd just be curious, how do you blend technology and then I'll always maintain, it was very obvious, you guys are more of almost a family. You're a family operation, but each of your facilities had a sense of a family. So it's very high touch, very personable. So how do you maintain that and add in technology?
Well, technology is really important. When we first started this business, we did all of our medication tracking on paper.
Oh boy. Okay.
And obviously things have advanced to where that's all electronic now. And so that's one way technology's influenced our business. It's helped us maintain more accurate records and be more efficient as we deliver that service. But technology is also influencing the quality of life for seniors.
And there are so many inventions out there right now that are kind of just getting started. But one thing that we've done is there's a program that, it's a big, like 50-inch touchscreen TV, and it has downloaded onto it all these different games and historical data and trivia and things like that we can use to enhance our activities program. So there's things like that happening constantly in our industry, and it's changing rapidly. So it's kind of hard to keep up on all the changes.
Well, and I did a little bit of research on that. Everybody thinks that Facebook's changing again, but that initially Facebook was for younger people. Well, it ends up Facebook, the fastest growing market's 65-year-olds and above, because they're all getting on there finding old friends. So
well, and Facebook's. I have kids who are in middle school and high school, and Facebook is a thing for old people, according to them.
Right. Well, there you go. Well, I run into that where I call a student and they're used to texting, and I'm calling them. What are you calling me for? Emailing.
Please
what is
text
that?
me.
Yeah. So in terms of marketing, when you plan that out, I would imagine that it's always interesting because to me, it's not the client or the patient, I guess, whatever term you use, customer, that's making the decision. It's probably the family. So how do you reach that decision maker in terms of bringing in new people to your establishment? How do you market to them?
Well, there are two types of marketing. We do a lot of advertising and marketing to the decision makers, the families, the loved ones of our potential residents. It's a whole separate thing apart from, like, our normal marketing route books is to social workers, doctors, nurses, key people in decision-making positions inside the medical system is where a large majority of our admissions and potential customers are found.
So in my sense, a lot of it may be it's relationships too. So you're getting referrals probably.
So we're very, very referral based, and that's what Mike was talking about, trying to find those referral sources,
right?
And then let them know what we can do. And our target is mostly the children, because they're the ones who are going to make the decision. And so we try to figure out, where those people are found and influenced by, and that's who we market to.
So what's interesting to me is that it's not only just the franchisee and the training for them, but it's how it really gets your service is provided is at the individual level. So do you have training then or onboarding for new employees within the franchisees? How much do you get involved at that level?
We do the franchise offers training program for all the staff,
right?
No matter where they're at, and training is ongoing, and we part of the culture that we've established is one of learning and growing, and so those kinds of opportunities are always important for us to take advantage of, and we want our staff to learn and grow along with us. What knowledge we acquire, we share with them, not only our franchisees but our employees.
So there's a strategic view of what you've done. You started with one and have moved and multiplied out, but it's mostly based on geography, right? Have you talked about other ways to grow the business outside of just the facilities? Can you take care of maybe food service? Could you vertically integrate?
There are ways, and most of our focus right now is in growing through franchise sales,
right?
And figuring out ways to give opportunities to our staff who want to grow into ownership, ways to do that, and so because we feel like we're more successful when our staff grow and they're successful too.
That would make sense. Yeah. They're part of there's ownership.
Yeah.
So one other question I always ask my guest speakers is, I love to say, if we had a time machine, I'll ask you both, and you could go back to a class that I'd be teaching, and you were 18 to 20-year-old, and you could have a few minutes with yourself, what would you say to yourself? What would be some lessons you learned along the way? Maybe some things where you'd say, hey, it sounds bad now, but it's not going to be that bad. I think I mentioned you. I had one speaker say, well, I'd find Bill Gates about that era and give him some money and invest in Microsoft. Actually, I'm thinking about it. I'd go buy Disney.com, but okay, that's not going to happen. But if you could go back in time and as an entrepreneur, think about what were some of the lessons learned that you were maybe afraid of, but you overcame it. What personally would you tell yourself?
I'd say that the education you're receiving now is important and will be helpful, but your education will really start when you focus on self-education, and that's really where I felt like my education began. It's where I've reaped the most benefits from, is that effort to just educate myself outside of what I learned in college.
Do you have any good books you'd recommend?
Sure.
No, he's got one. Okay.
I have a lot. I love reading. Start With Why by Simon Sinek.
Oh,
Most
absolutely,
of his material
yeah.
is great. Never Split the Difference by Chris Voss. Those are some of the most important books to
I
me.
have both of those.
Great.
In fact, I've got the short version of the Never Split the Difference. There's some good videos online too for that one.
Yeah.
So excellent. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I think I would go back and tell myself that it's going to be hard, right? And to stick with it, and not to give up. I think that, had I been back there and seen what I had to go through, maybe not would have done it, but it's worth it. And so I would just say to myself that expect hard things, because, business is not easy.
So I didn't ask anybody else this, but it's interesting. I think as you get older and you earn more leadership roles, you get this sort of sixth sense about something. You'll see it and you'll know which is the best direction to go, because you're going to get hit with lots of cool ideas, but you have to be discerning. So when you're making a decision, what do you look at first? Is it the money? Is it the outcome? Is it service? What are you looking at in making a leadership decision?
Well, I think you gotta ask yourself: do you have all of the right things that it will take to make that new location successful?
Right.
You gotta have money. You gotta have time. You gotta have the right people, and you gotta have these resources. And if you do, then it makes sense to move forward. If you're missing one of those things, go fill that piece first, right? Because if you don't have the access to the right money, or you don't have the right person in place, then you're kind of setting yourself up for either failure or a big challenge up ahead.
Right. Is that how you look at asking questions about strategy and leadership?
I think study it out and prepare all you can and learn all you can. At the end of the day, I think check your gut, because it's always been right for me. And there's many decisions I've pulled away from.
Yeah, you guys probably have some radar there you don't even know about. It's
When
your sixth sense, right?
everything might look right, but if your gut says no, I'd say trust it.
Right. Well, we have a plaque or whatever to put on your desk. Can we get two of these, or put it in the desk between you?
We share.
This
an
okay.
office, yeah.
Okay. This is awarded to BeeHive Homes for being one of Albuquerque's most iconic businesses. And we have
Thank
a
you.
box. We can put that in there for you.
Yeah, that's
Delighted
wonderful.
to talk to you too. I live up in Fort Hill, so I drive by BeeHive all the time. And my mother-in-law is about the right age, so we were talking to one of your people the other day, and you guys, I've been in marketing at some aspect, and when we got on the phone with them, they got right to it. We called Social Security the other day. They said, "Oh, our phones are busy. It'll be 82 minutes." I'm like, "What? That was not your place." No, you got right back, and it was great. So that's an indication of the service that you guys provide, and it comes from your leadership. So thank you for being one of Albuquerque's iconic businesses.
Thank you.
Thank
And
you.
making us all look good. So thank you.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you very much for joining us today.